The waves roared like a living beast in the night. Wind shattered the sky, and the sea hurled itself at a lonely house by the shore. Inside, a young girl clung to her father's hand, her small fingers trembling as the world broke apart around them. "Don't let go," she cried, but the ocean does not listen. Water swallowed the rooms. The walls screamed, and in one violent breath, the storm tore them from life itself. Darkness, silence, and yet, years later, that same soul would return, reborn in another body, carrying memories no child should ever know. Somewhere between death and rebirth, something stayed awake inside her. Not a scream, not a thought, but a quiet knowing. As Elara grew, those hidden echoes matured with her, soft at first, then restless, until memory itself began knocking from the inside, asking to be heard. Elara was just 17 when her words began to unsettle those around her. While her friends dreamed about futures that had yet to come, Elara spoke of a past that had no place in her life. One evening, she whispered to her father, "Dad, I think I've lived before. I remember the sea raging, the storm breaking everything apart. I clutched my father's hand as the waves roared around us, but they ripped us apart before I could hold on any longer." Her father froze, his pen slipping from his hand. His face turned pale. "Memories like that do not belong to a child," he muttered. "Be careful, Elara. Some echoes carry more than we understand." Elara's whispers did not stop. To her mother, she confessed, "In another life, I lived in a house by the sea. The nights echoed with waves. There was someone, Margaret. Her laughter still follows me." Her mother smiled nervously, brushing it off as dreams. But Elara's gaze was steady. No, it was a life. Her words carried the weight of poetry, as if spoken by a soul older than her years. The waves may erase footprints on the shore, but not the names the soul has known before. At night, she woke trembling, whispering names her family had never heard. She drew sketches of a seaside cottage, always the same, blue shutters, roses by the gate. Once, while sketching, Elara paused and frowned. "The third step is loose," she said softly. "It tilts when you carry weight." Her father looked up in surprise. "Steps don't tilt in dreams," he replied. Elara met his eyes. "It's not a dream. That board creaks when rainwater stays beneath it." The room fell silent. No photograph had ever shown the steps. One evening, her father decided to test her. He spread photographs across the table, images clipped from old magazines, random houses. "Show me your home," he challenged. Elara's hand did not hesitate. She pressed her finger to one photograph. "This one, I know how the gate sounds. I know how the floor creaks when you walk to the back room." Her parents stared at each other, fear tightening their hearts. How could she describe a place she had never seen? Months later, the family took a trip to the coast. The car wound through narrow roads when suddenly Elara leaned forward, her voice urgent. Her heart beat faster with every turn. Part of her prayed she was wrong, that the road would end in nothing but trees and silence. But another part, the older part, recognized the bends, the smell of salt in the air, the way the wind pressed against her skin as if greeting her. Memory was no longer thought. It was instinct. "Stop. Please turn here." The road grew tight, lined with wind-bent pines. And then they saw it. A weary cottage with peeling paint, standing proud against the sea. Roses still climbed its gate. Elara's breath broke. Her hands shook. "This is it," she whispered. "I know this place." She walked to the gate and knocked. After a pause, the latch clicked. An old man stepped out with a cane. Elara froze, staring at him as if time itself had stopped. "I know you," she whispered. The man frowned. "Impossible. How could you? You were our guard." Elara trembled. "Peter's most trusted man. You stood at this gate." The old man staggered, color draining from his face. "Yes. Peter told me once, always keep this house secure. It is my parents' legacy. Promise me you will never abandon it." And I never did. But the storm, it took all of you. Margaret, Peter, even little Elara. Your bodies were found 3 days later. The words fell like stones into the air. Elara felt them pass through her, heavy and cold, as if time itself had reached back to touch her present life. Two existences pressed together inside her chest, the girl she was and the girl she had been, both trembling at the same forgotten shoreline. Her parents could not breathe. The crashing waves behind them seemed to echo her words, repeating the tragedy. That night, silence filled their hotel room. Her parents looked at Elara not as a daughter, but as a vessel carrying the unfinished story of another life. Elara herself felt both sorrow and clarity. She finally understood her hollow fear of the sea. She finally knew why salt water haunted her dreams. Her whispered truth was now undeniable. Life is fragile. Death is not an end. And love, the memory of it, refuses to be buried. Her words carried a poet's echo. Lives may end, but love does not decay. It drifts through time, it finds another way. But how can such memories exist? Some believe Elara was proof of reincarnation, a soul carried into a new body, remembering what it once endured. Others suggest ancestral memory, echoes passed down through bloodlines. Skeptics argue it was imagination, a subconscious trick, but her accuracy, her details, her recognition of a man she had never met, these things defy simple explanation. Perhaps each of us carries fragments of other lives, like faint voices in the background of our own. Perhaps in rare moments, they rise and remind us who we once were. Sometimes, late at night, Elara stands by her window and listens to sounds no one else can hear. The wind becomes waves. The dark becomes water. She feels the pull of the place she once called home, but never lived in this life. Her heart races, not with fear, but with recognition. Somewhere beyond memory, the sea is still waiting for her, and the soul that once drowned there is still learning how to breathe again. By day, Elara smiles like any other girl, walks the halls, laughs with friends. But inside her, another life moves quietly beside her own. Some memories do not shout, they wait. And one day, when the world is silent enough, they will rise again, not to haunt her, but to remind her that a soul is larger than a single lifetime. Elara's story remains an unsolved mystery. A life remembered, a death relived, a soul returned. We end where it all began, by the relentless sea. The waves may take the body, but the soul, it always finds a way back. So what do you believe? Curse, gift, or proof that the soul lives twice? Share your thoughts below and join us, because the next story might change everything you think you know about life and memory.